Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into the world of Friedrich Nietzsche, a really provocative 19th century thinker.
Absolutely. His ideas on, well, everything, existence, morality, the meaning of life, they still spark huge debate.
They really do. And there's this big question that always seems to hang over him, often kind of tripping people up. Was Nietzsche actually a nihilist?
Mm.
Did he genuinely believe life is, pointless? Or was something much more complex going on? That's what we want to get to the bottom of today.
Okay, so maybe we should start with nihilism itself. What do we mean by that term?
Good idea.
Basically, it's the idea that life has no built-in meaning, no objective purpose, no absolute truth. Everything's just baseless,
That's
ultimately.
meaningless. And that's the label that people often stick on Nietzsche.
Exactly, and they usually point to certain very famous phrases he used.
Like the big one, God is dead.
You hear that, and it sounds pretty final, pretty, well, nihilistic maybe. It does on the surface, but just calling it atheism or just a rejection of religion kind of misses the scale of what he was observing.
So what was he saying?
He was diagnosing a massive cultural shift, you know? He saw that the foundational framework, the moral compass that Western society had relied on for centuries tied to God, was losing its grip, its
Right.
power.
So people's faith was weakening.
Yeah, and crucially, the values that came with that faith were also becoming unmoored, losing their foundation. He wasn't necessarily celebrating this. He saw it as a potential crisis.
A crisis? How so?
Well, he foresaw this death of God leading to a kind of void, an emptiness for humanity. He asked, okay, if there's no God, no absolute truth, then what happens to good and evil? What's the purpose of anything?
Well,
That emptiness, that potential collapse of meaning, that's what Nietzsche called nihilism. He saw it as a danger, almost like a disease looming over the future.
so he wasn't advocating for it. He was identifying it as a problem.
Precisely. He diagnosed it, he saw the shadow coming, and he talked about passive nihilism.
Transnihil.
Yeah, where people faced with this void as the old values crumble, just sort of give up. They fall into despair, purposelessness.
And he linked this to existing morality.
He did. He was quite critical, especially of Christian morality, arguing it actually, maybe ironically, weakened people, made them passive, stifled their innate power and freedom.
So, okay, he definitely diagnosed nihilism. He saw it. He named it.
Yes, absolutely. He recognized it, articulated its effects. But, and this is the key point, that diagnosis was just the beginning for him. It wasn't his final word, not at all.
Right. It wasn't the destination.
Yeah.
So if nihilism is the illness,
Right.
what's the cure, according to Nietzsche?
Exactly. He absolutely saw it as something that needed a cure, something to be overcome, not wallowed in. So the question becomes, if the old rules are gone and despair isn't the answer, what do you do?
And this is where things get really interesting, isn't it? With this idea of active nihilism.
Active nihilism, it sounds like a contradiction, maybe, but it's about taking action.
How so?
Instead of collapsing when old values fail, active nihilism sees that void as an opportunity, a space
Opportunity for what?
to create, to consciously, powerfully forge new values, new purposes, new meanings for ourselves. It's not despair. It's this incredibly liberating act of, well, creation, taking control.
Okay, so that drive to create, to shape meaning, is that connected to his concept of the will to power?
Directly. That's the engine behind it. The will to power, probably his most famous idea, and maybe the most misunderstood too.
Yeah, people often think it just means like wanting to dominate others, right?
Yeah.
Power over people.
That's the common misreading. But for Nietzsche, it was much deeper, more fundamental than that. It wasn't just about politics or social climbing.
So what is it then, fundamentally?
It's the basic drive in all life, not just to survive, but to grow, to overcome obstacles, to overcome oneself, even to expand, master, create.
Like self-improvement, pushing your limits.
Yes, and more. It's the desire to shape your own life, maybe like a work of art. It's about striving, actualizing potential. It's deeply life-affirming at its core. Creating new values is an expression of this will to power.
Okay, and how does the Ubermensch fit into this? The Overman or Superman?
Right. The Ubermensch isn't about muscles or flying or anything like that. It's an ideal. It represents a human being who has managed to break free from those old dead values.
The ones left behind by the death of God.
Exactly. And through their own will to power, they actually create new values, values that are strong, life-affirming. The Ubermensch is the one who becomes the master of their own fate, shapes their own meaning, accepts it all, even the suffering.
Accepting suffering. That sounds tough. And that leads us to another really challenging idea, doesn't it? Eternal recurrence.
Yes. The ultimate test, maybe.
Can you lay it out for us? What is eternal recurrence?
He poses this thought experiment, essentially. Imagine if you had to live your life over again. Not a different life, but this exact life. Every single second, every joy, every pain, every mistake, every boring moment, repeated exactly, forever. An infinite loop.
Wow.
And the question is, would you despair or would you embrace it? Would you say yes to it eternally?
That's a heavy question.
It is. But for Nietzsche, the ability to genuinely desire that repetition, to affirm your life in its entirety, warts and all, to the point where you'd happily live it again and again, that is the absolute peak of life affirmation. It's the ultimate opposite of nihilism. How could life be meaningless if you choose to live it infinitely?
Okay, that really flips the perspective. So let's circle back then. After digging into all this, the diagnosis, the will to power, the Übermensch, eternal recurrence, was Nietzsche a nihilist?
Well, when you look at the whole picture, the answer has to be no.
Right, it seems pretty clear. He saw nihilism as this huge danger, this problem that humanity absolutely had to confront and overcome.
Exactly. He wasn't preaching meaninglessness. He was a philosopher pushing for purpose, for self-creation, for saying a profound yes to life, even with all its hardships.
So he wasn't just tearing down old ideas.
No, he was clearing the ground to build something new. He put the responsibility squarely on us, on human beings.
To find meaning.
Or, crucially, if we can't find it ready-made, then we have to create it. That's the challenge. And he believed real strength wasn't about avoiding pain, but facing it, learning from it, using it to grow stronger.
It's a demanding philosophy for sure,
Right.
but also empowering in a way.
Very much so. His whole project was about affirmation, not negation.
Yeah.
He wanted to free people from what he saw as limiting, weakening moral codes to help them become, powerful, free, self-reliant creators of their own lives.
So calling him a nihilist just seems, well, it misses the entire point of his work, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a superficial reading. He
Right.
spent his life trying to find a way out of that nihilistic emptiness for humanity.
And thinking about today, the modern world where people do often grapple with feelings of meaninglessness or despair, his ideas feel surprisingly relevant.
They really do. Maybe even more so now. He offers this path, this reminder that even if old certainties fade, we still have this capacity through our own will, our own choices, our affirmation of life, to make something meaningful, to turn our lives into, as he might put it, these unique, enduring masterpieces.
It's definitely a challenging way to think about life, but maybe a necessary one. We hope this deep dive has maybe shifted how you see Nietzsche, maybe revealed a different side to him.
Yeah, if you're interested in exploring more, his own writings are the place to go, though they can be dense. Thus, Stoic Zarathustra is key, but maybe start with Beyond Good and Evil, or On the Genealogy of Morality.
Great suggestions. So as you go from here, think about this. Has your view of Nietzsche changed? Do you still see him as that figure of despair, the nihilist? Or do you now see something different, maybe something more radical, more demanding, but ultimately life-affirming, something to chew on? Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.